Hello, this is Evolvingcherry, and I'm going to react to several videos on TikTok about relationships, see if I agree, disagree. I love helping when it comes to relationship advice, motivational, self-improvement, self-development, self-growth, going down that line. But anyways, let's get started right now.
If you have a toxic relationship, but you still love that person, will you fight for it to go? Obviously, you have to fight for it if you love somebody. Fight for it. But if they're not improving, you have to love yourself enough to let love go. And I'm not saying put yourself first. It's you put the relationship first. It's not you and another person, and you serve each other. It's you both serve the relationship. You both put the relationship above yourselves. So if you're out here serving the relationship and this person isn't, and you say, hey, listen, I need your help in this because right now it's one-sided and everything's falling, and they're not willing to serve that relationship, then you got to get out of it.
Okay, I actually agree with what he says. In this situation, when you're giving a lot more to the relationship than your other counterpart is, yeah, it's time for you to get out. There should be a balance. It shouldn't be one person's doing the extreme and then the other person's doing nothing or little to nothing, because all that's going to do is stress the person that is doing the most in the relationship to keep it afloat. It's going to stress them out. It's going to make it to where they're self-sabotaging the situation in order for them to, and they don't realize it half of the time, in order for it to get back to square one. In reality, the other person already gave up in their mind and already just is benefiting for their self, knowing that it's a team effort. It's like, I don't like saying it like it's a job, but sometimes people align it with it's a job. I wouldn't say that so much, but some people are saying that. When you put it in that perspective, it technically is. You don't put minimum bare effort into a job and expect it to still, or expect yourself to still actually be at that job. Minimum to nothing, you're going to get fired. That's what happens. Eventually, somebody gets fed up, they're doing too much, and they leave. All right, next one.
If this is your person, you can't give up. You just can't give up. Because, look, everybody goes through their stuff individually and as a couple.
Right.
You got to give each other the space to make mistakes. You got to give each other the space to apologize, to forgive. You got to give each other the space to grow, to mature. You got to crawl through the mud together. You got to fight those fights together. You got to celebrate. You got to learn each other's ways how to be loved, right? Because everybody's different. Everybody wants to be loved differently, and you have to learn that about the other person. And it's fun to go through or to crawl through the mud with somebody and come out on the other end. You cannot succeed without failing.
Yes.
You have to make mistakes along the way. It's too bad when people bail out before they can reap the benefits of having made mistakes and having been through all that stuff.
Yes.
You cannot find true happiness without messing up and going through those periods in your life, whether it's as an individual or as a couple.
That is so true. What he said is absolutely positively correct. And I remember him from like Soul Food, and he met his potential future wife, which they're still married as far as I know, on that show, and they're still together. So I would definitely take his advice. I'm in a relationship right now. There's a lot of mistakes that are made in the relationship, of course. We all have our wrongs and rights. I know when to say sorry. He knows when to say sorry. And I know when to learn and change and evolve according to what he likes, what I like, what we don't like. We listen to each other. Yeah, it might take a couple times. No one's perfect. We come around and understand, like, okay, I was doing something wrong. Or he says he was doing something wrong. We find our ways to fix it. So it takes effort. Relationships are not always flawless. It's difficult to find a perfect relationship and find it where nobody is making any mistakes whatsoever. There's always going to be something. Yeah, I mean, if you really wanted to stay in a relationship with somebody, then you'll stay and make it work. Now, not saying, because there was the other video from before that was saying that one person wasn't putting that much effort in and then the other person was. And when there's an imbalance, then it gets out of whack and get out quickly if you're the one that's giving more, right? However, if you're not in that type of relationship and there was just like mistakes happening here and there, misunderstandings, miscommunication, things like that, then it's worth saving. It takes time for people to understand how another person acts, reacts, likes, doesn't like certain things, right? So if you really love that person, you will put forth that effort. That's all I gotta say about that one. All right, next video.
Here are 5 of my most important tips to remember in the early stages of dating. Number 1, the bare minimum is called the bare minimum for a reason. Stop being so impressed by kindness, respect, reciprocity, compliments, etc. Number 2, there's nothing wrong with having a healthy amount of skepticism if you've just started dating someone. In fact, if you're someone that tends to be overly trusting of people prematurely, this can keep you level-headed. Number 3, the beginning stages of dating are by nature ambiguous, unpredictable, and can bring up a whole lot of relational anxiety. This is normal, you're not going crazy, but you are going to have to learn to tolerate it. Number 4, you do not have to prove to anyone that you are good enough, worthy of love, or valuable. You just are. And number 5, red flags aren't going to feel like red flags if you've been conditioned to believe that shitty behavior equals love. Get really honest with yourself if there are things that you really, really don't like early on in the relationship. Your mind might lie to you, but your body never will.
Wow, she said a lot there, and I agree with her. Every single one, I agree. Especially the one that she mentions. I wouldn't say gullible, but if you're just a very kind person, you trust everyone, especially right at the beginning, then it's okay to have your guard up a little bit. It's okay to like feel somebody out and try to get to know them more. Take the slower route. Because the one that will stick and stay around during that slower route is the one for you. It weeds out a lot of people. I'm going to be honest. Women, men too, women tend to have a lot of options, okay? A lot. It's weird because a lot of those options are not true long-term relationship options. Those are just, most of them are wanting to get in your pants. Let's be honest with ourselves. Most of these men want to get in our pants. You know what I mean? And there's maybe a couple that are serious about us. It takes time for us to weed that out. You're not going to know right away most of the time. Okay? All right, let's go to the next video.
I'm just here to remind you, it's exhausting when your partner feels like they're carrying all of the relationship load. I'm not here to shame you. I'm not here to make you feel like a bad partner. I'm just here to challenge you and remind you. School required your attention. Your job requires intentionality. Your car requires preventative maintenance in order to work properly. The most important things in your life will always require some level of work and sacrifice and attention if you want them to succeed and work instead of fail or break, and your relationship is no different. And you're great at a lot of things, but sometimes we can all put our relationships on autopilot. For some reason, we think this complex partnership can run perfectly fine by putting it on the back burner and making other things a priority instead. And I'm just here to remind you, it won't. Your relationship requires things from both of you. It takes 2 for this thing to work. Just like working out requires things from you, doesn't it? You have to watch what you eat. You have to devote time to go to the gym. You have to be intentional to achieve your goals. Laziness never gets you to your next PR, does it? And it's the same for our relationships. Some of us are emotionally lazy, and we're terrified to even explore what we could do better. Our shame and fear keep us paralyzed, but they also tend to keep our partner feeling distant and disconnected from us, don't they? And if we aren't careful, we end up putting too much of the relational burden on their back, and it's only a matter of time before they break. And I'll be the first to admit, I didn't know what my relationship needed to thrive instead of die. I didn't know what love required of me, and I didn't care to learn because I was embarrassed and prideful. So let me just ask you, are you prioritizing your relationship? I don't mean, are you going to work and are you fixing things? Are you washing his dishes at night? No. I mean, are you pursuing closeness and connection with them? It's okay if the answer is, I don't know. It's not okay to stay at I don't know for years and never work towards figuring it out. Are you learning how to listen when someone's upset? Are you just having the same fights over and over? Are you working on techniques to repair and reconnect through validation and empathy and understanding? Are you learning what builds intimacy and trust together? Are you initiating conversations about how they're feeling or what their stressors are or how you could love them more in this season? Or are you just assuming since you don't have any concerns, complaints, or requests that they shouldn't either? Are you avoiding those talks because you think it will avoid a fight? It won't. You're not protecting the relationship. You're protecting you from feeling anxiety or fear. There's a big difference, and it's usually the difference that determines whether your relationship succeeds or fails.
Wow. I like that one. I like it a lot. And he is absolutely correct. One thing that stuck out to me was him mentioning emotional laziness or being emotionally lazy. I would probably word that a little differently. It's more of emotionally, sometimes it's emotionally distant, sometimes it's emotional misunderstanding, because I feel like there's emotion involved when you're in a relationship with somebody. It's just a matter of how much emotion are you aware of using. Sometimes there's too much emotion. Sometimes there's lack of, but when you're with your true and real partner, someone that loves you for you, you could show any type of emotion and they'll understand. Not extreme emotion, just like who you are, authenticity. Go as far as you authentically can emotionally and see how your partner reacts. See how they react. And that doesn't mean get angry and over exaggerate anything. Going back to my boyfriend doesn't call me crazy. He doesn't call me outside of my name. He used to, I'll say at the beginning, he had to learn not to. Maybe that's like something that spewed out in his last relationship. But very early on, he realized that, and I told him, quite a few times in different types of ways, because people tend to not understand until you use a great example in certain ways. And he understood. He understood and he stopped. When somebody stops a certain behavior because you don't like it, they know that it makes you upset or angry or anything like that, then yeah, you got a good person on your hands because they are aware of what they're doing. So going back to the emotional laziness or emotionally lazy, if your partner is emotionally lazy, let's say, then make them aware that if they change their behavior, if they are able to show their authentic self, which is probably not emotionally lazy, let's be real. Maybe they're chill. Maybe they're a chill person. If they're emotionally lazy, quote unquote, that just means they're not really as interested as you think they are while being in a relationship. Someone that is really truly connected to you in some sort of type of way is going to show their authentic self and their authentic emotions. Let's go to the next video.
Kadiana's #1 hit music station, 94.5 KSMB. What is going on? It's me, Ty Ski. Now, if you want your relationship to work, wait until date number 5 before y'all sleep together. Now, that is according to some new research out there. Now, becoming an official boyfriend or girlfriend, you should come in after around 2 months of dating. Yeah, but couples, they need to wait 5 months before revealing their past partners or talking about incomes. And if you want the relationship to work, do not introduce a partner to your parents until at least 4 months in. And it takes 5 months and 21 days to be comfortable enough to pass gas in front of your partner. Now, was that necessary? Let me know. Kadiana's #1 hit music station, 94.5 KSMB.
Okay. Now, let me say this. All these like rules and regulations. Oh, you can't do this during this time. You can't do this until this amount of time. All that goes out the window. If someone is actually serious about you, if they're serious about you, you don't have to worry about the time limit. I'm just going to say that. You don't have to worry if it's like 2 days, 2 months, or 2 years. Let's say, you want to wait a little bit longer to get it in. If someone is truly serious about you and wants a life with you, then you don't have to worry about the time limit. They're going to be with you no matter what. If there's a time limit that has to be had in this situation, then somebody is not really serious about you in the first place. I'm just going to put it out there. I know some men, some women too, but some men, they, no matter what day you give it to them, right? Give it to them. They're not going to see you very seriously at all at any point in time. Doesn't matter if you wait 2 days, 2 years, 2 months, whatever. That doesn't matter. I know people are like, oh my God, yes, it does matter. Da, 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 da. If that person was serious about you from the start, they'll see you as a serious individual and want you in, or they want you in their life for long, long periods of time as a partner. So no matter what you do, that's why so many people get away with red flags. Let's be real about this. That's why so many people get away with red flags, because people want what they want. If they really want you, it's not really going to matter about a time limit of anything. You could tell them, hey, this is an example, and it's different from an intercourse example. Hey, babe, I want to get married in 2 years span. So 2 years, we have time to go on vacations, go on more dates, all this stuff. Then I want a proposal. Somebody that is serious about you will keep that in mind, and even shoot, they'll keep up with the dates and everything if they want to, or at least know the range or the estimate of time, and then propose. Or at least have those conversations about it, and eventually we'll do that within that span of time. For the ones that are not serious, they're going to lead you on. You guys are going to be just constantly in a relationship for several years and finally get to that point in time. A man knows what they want pretty quickly. And here's the number 2 again. Within a 2-year span, they will know. Even if they don't put a ring on it, as in on your finger, they will know that they want to spend the rest of their life with you or not. If they take longer than that, if they don't mention any marriage whatsoever during a 2-year span, yeah, they're not serious about you. I'm just gonna put it out there. Even for the ones that get married, it takes them much longer. No, I'm sorry. No. Anyways, let's continue with the next video.
Men who fall for the temptation of other women while being in a relationship are the weakest and most insecure of all of mankind. They're the lowest of the low. You're telling me you're cheating on the woman who's been with you since the start? The woman who saw all of your flaws and still decided to stick by your side? The woman who wanted to grow with you and see you win? And in some cases, the woman who made it possible for you to carry on your bloodline. But here you are bonelessly, shamelessly, pridelessly, and honorlessly embarrassing and humiliating the woman who's been there for you and betraying the mother of your children. Under no circumstance is it okay to cheat, and there's no excuses for it. If you're that unhappy, then just leave, but you can't get the best of both worlds. Stop wasting her time and yours trying to fill that void of loneliness and self-hate that you have just because you don't believe your partner's cutting it anymore. That random chica in the club isn't going to solve that problem, and even if it does bring you a small rush of excitement in that moment, you're going to wake up the next day and your whole world's going to be turned upside down, and there's no coming back from that. And for the victims of cheating, how long do you think it would have lasted if you hadn't caught them? How sorry would they be, and how much would they have changed on their own? Because most of the time, if not all the time, they're not sorry for what they did, they're sorry because they got caught.
Wow. I think that's very much the surface level answer to that. There's many reasons as to why men cheat, okay? Many reasons. Many reasons. So many. I'll give you a couple reasons though. Let's say you're together with your partner for a long time, 3 years, 4 years, 5 years. You notice there's a difference in their consistency, how they treat you, all that. Then there's something also on your end. It's not always their end. I'll be honest. Yes, as much as we want women, they always say like, oh, he cheated on me. How dare he? I was so good in the relationship. But at the same time, women, don't be mad at me, women sometimes are not aware of their faults, not aware of when they bring up like petty arguments, constantly get on a person's nerves to the point where they don't want to be with you anymore. It's not a laughing matter, but sometimes this happens. A lot of women are not aware of what they do. They just think that they are the perfect partner while also degrading men in relationships too. Because I've heard a lot of stories of certain women putting their man down, calling them a boy, calling them an a-hole, calling them a mother effer, calling them outside of their name, sometimes even treating them instead of a boyfriend or a husband, they're treating them like a son. Like, hey, take the trash out. Do this, do that, do that. Like, just very controlling, very masculine. The ones that usually do not get cheated on, or at least minimally cheated on, if you want to say that, are the ones that are very calm, collective, very nurturing, very just supportive partners. Those are the ones that don't get cheated on as much. Now, let's say there's always a man out there that just cheats for the sake of cheating because he wants to cheat and he can get away with it. And then there's other men that are down low, DL, and they constantly cheat anyway because they're trying to find their identity. And sometimes they know their identity and they're trying to cover it up. So therefore they're just going constantly place to place, person to person to hide it or to bury it as low as they can because they're hiding from themselves, their true selves. That happens too. Anyways, that's going down the rabbit hole. Let's get to the next video, y'all.
I received from a woman in her 60s in the first year or two of my marriage that was really life-changing for me, and so I thought I'd share it with you guys. I was just kind of complaining to her about my husband loading the dishwasher wrong and doing the dishes wrong and doing the laundry wrong, whatever, and saying, you know, and I have to go back and fix it. And she told me, Lindsay, don't do that. She said, I used to do that too. I would go after my husband would load the dishwasher and I would redo it. And I'd tell him he did it wrong. And now I ask him, why don't you ever help me clean? And he said, well, I used to, but you always corrected me. You always told me I did it wrong. So why would I keep doing that for you? And it's so true. I wouldn't want to do that. I wouldn't want to keep helping someone when every time I help them, they tell me I do it wrong. And so now my husband does the dishes and cleans his way. It's not my way, but it's done and it's okay. It's still done. And I think it's made our relationship so much better. So I hope that's helpful for you too.
A huge lesson. And women do this all the time. Not gonna lie to you. Women do this all the time. I even seen my mom do this on several occasions when she was in her marriage. And that's the wrong way to do it. If your partner is doing something right, just like that example there, cleaning, and they're not cleaning the way that you want them to clean, leave them be. Leave them be because you want them to help, right? You want them to help. Just say, good job, baby. That's a really good job. You could approach it in a different way. If you want to teach them a certain way how to do it, just don't tell them that they're doing it wrong. Just say, let me help you elevate your skills. Say it in that way because men like to up their skill set. So don't even say this is the way I do it. Show them here's a different way that I do the dishes, babe. And it's up to you if you want to do it this way or not. But I want to show you this new way to do some dishes and a lot quicker. And it gets a lot cleaner too. But the way that you're doing dishes is just fine. I just want to show you how to do it this way now. If you want to do it this way, that's totally up to you. I'm not going to deny anything that you do and the way that you do it, but I would love to show you this way, the new quote unquote way. You don't have to do it that way. The short way to say this is, hey babe, I appreciate you doing the dishes for me or cleaning for me. I would love to show you a different technique. And it'll get done a lot quicker if you like me to show you. If you don't want me to show you, that is totally fine. Leave you alone and it's okay. They'll be more receptive to that. There's certain ways to speak to your partner And you don't want to come to them in an aggressive or even a passive aggressive way, because they're not going to respond to that well. That's when you end up having a whole bunch of men that do nothing in the household because the women are acting like mothers instead of wives or girlfriends. You don't want that to happen in your household. As women, we have to stop the nagging and understand that men are different from us. So, all right, I'm going to continue. Next video.
Constantly questioning about if you were with the right partner, I want to share something that literally changed my life. There is no one right partner for you. Everyone is a little bit wrong for you. We live in a culture that is obsessed with perfect compatibility and constant optimization, and of course, this really impacts how we experience relationships. Instead of looking for the perfect partner, the perfectly right partner, what if you could shift your focus to being with someone who isn't overly wrong for you? Meaning someone who is respectful, kind, values you, is willing to work through challenges, but isn't perfect, doesn't share your every single interest, doesn't share your every single perspective, is not a carbon copy of you, essentially. Philosopher Alain de Botton says that compatibility is an achievement of love and mustn't be its precondition. Meaning compatibility is actually a skill you build with someone over time versus this preset that is already there when you find the person and it's going to stay that way forever. The not overly wrong person is willing to navigate differences and challenges with kindness and respect. You will not find a perfect partner because you are not a perfect person. There is no perfect person out there. But you can find something even better than that, something that's real, something that's human, something that makes space for the complexity and nuance and imperfections of the human experience, something that embraces that and actually leans into it and celebrates that. If you keep asking the question, am I with the right partner? You will always be looking for how they come up short. You will always see their flaws and their humanness as a problem instead of a reality to be embraced and even appreciated.
She is right. She is totally spot on. I would say more about knowing when someone accepts you for you and how you are in general. That's a big thing. Someone that is not wanting to change you. There might be a couple ways, reasons as to why you should change, because we all should grow. When we stop growing, we technically die. And that goes for relationships too. When the relationship stops growing, it dies. It dies. The best thing is to understand that you guys are different. There might be a lot of things that you're not used to because as women, sometimes men too, have a list either in their mind or journaled list of how their partner is supposed to be, supposed to look like, money wise, what are they supposed to have in the bank, I guess, financially, car, house, all that stuff, whatever you want to say, have a dog, cat, silly things sometimes. But do they accept you for you? Do you accept them for being themselves? That too. Don't go out of your way looking for someone that has that potential or someone coming to you that just has potential. No more looking for potential. Accept people for who they are and where they're at in life right now. Because if you're maybe, let's say, oh, you don't have the funds at this moment in time. He doesn't really have the funds at this moment in time. That doesn't mean that you completely ignore each other until you get there. Whether you guys could work together or not, you can, or you could go your separate ways. The dates might not be great, but at least you could still get to know that person in the process and understanding how they move, them understanding how you move as to why you're not at the place in time where you want to be in life right now. That's what I mean. Everybody's different. everyone is different. There is no perfect person, like the person that was speaking said, but they can accept you for you, and you can accept them for being themselves. If you truly like that person, or if you're in a relationship and you love that person, then you're going to accept their little quirks. You're going to accept, hey, they might say something every once in a blue moon that you don't agree with. You could, I wouldn't say gloss over it, but at the same time, just understand where they're coming from. Because most of the time when they say these little things, they're just being their authentic selves. And sometimes we don't understand that because we're two totally different people. Acceptance is key. Acceptance is always key. We're going to look at this last video and I want to see what this is about.
If your partner thinks you're never going to walk away from them, no matter what they do, you've lost. That's a horrible place to be in. We have to get to a place where we both understand that as long as we show up the way that we need to show up for each other, we have each other's back. We will be here. But neither of us will tolerate an unhealthy relationship and someone who blatantly does not want to work on making this better.
That's so interesting that he had another video after that. Maybe I should check that one out too. Maybe. I don't know. We'll see. There's so many scenarios as to why somebody wants to walk away. So many scenarios, but let's just say it's something super negative. It constantly keeps on happening and this person does not want to change. Do not stick and stay around to see if they will change. Sometimes you being away from that situation will allow them to change. And if they show that they have changed in a positive way, then maybe you guys could work on it or at least talk about that. Either that or more than likely you're just going to move on anyway. And sometimes, hey, sometimes you're at fault. Sometimes you're the one that's not changing or not understanding and they walk away from you and you need that time away from them to grow and to understand your mistakes. Let's check this last video. Let's see what he has to say. I forgot what his name was, but remind me, guys. There's so many people on social media. Anyway, he's been around for a while though.
Men tend to forget that women typically are emotionally wired or more emotionally wired.
Yeah.
And so what happens is when she comes to you and expresses a concern, if that concern does not line up in your head logically, men tend to dismiss it. Okay.
Facts.
And they don't consider how she's feeling. And I want men to understand, you have to learn that we have to accept men and women are different. We are just built differently, and in understanding our differences, we can create more harmony with each other. When that woman says to you, this is how I feel, it's not about your logic at that point, bruh. It's about how she feels. All right. And you got to tap into that in that moment. And if you say, well, how do I know she's not lying? Listen, if she's a good woman otherwise, then there's no reason to assume it's a lie right now. All right. If you know she has not been a problem for you, then don't project that negativity on her. So many women feel dismissed and devalued because as men, again, we keep focusing on logic, but they're talking about their emotion, what they're feeling.
Yeah.
And that's real.
Right.
It may not be real to you in that moment, but that danger or her uncomfortableness in that moment is real to her. So you have to meet her there.
So absolutely right. And of course he's a man. He's speaking on certain issues that men have, especially with understanding a woman's feelings and connecting to those feelings. And I know why this happens, because most men, maybe not so much today's age, but most men were growing up in a household where they had to hide their emotions, where they had to use more of that logical sense and their power to get up there and become the man they are today. They tend to block out a lot of their emotions growing up as well in relationships due to that. But it takes a process. It's like a process, you know what I mean? Maybe it's therapy that they need to have, maybe talking to a couple friends that are emotionally in tune or emotionally in touch with themselves, so they can understand as to why they're doing certain things that they're doing in their relationships, and not use their emotional side to understand their other counterpart. It's just like a stone wall, because they don't want to get super emotional. They just don't want to seem like they're unhinged. When low key, sometimes they look unhinged by not being emotional. Anyways, thank you for watching my reaction video to all of this relationship advice. I'll have more videos like this and react to other types of videos as well. It's open for interpretation. Thank you. Subscribe, like, follow, and I'll catch you later. Bye.